Chapter 8 Sale of the Real Diamond. After over 20 years living in the townhouse, Frank called me from work and told me that the real estate agent called him and told him that the townhouse was sold and the buyer wanted to live there and that we would have to be out in 30 days. I was shocked. Frank said, "Don't worry, we will work it out." That night in bed, Frank said that this might have happened for the best and that we needed a change anyway. I asked Frank, "Where can we find a place like this?" Frank said that he knows this guy who comes into the store where he works, and he has a lot of properties and businesses in this neighborhood, and he will call him tomorrow and let me know if he has a place for us. The next day, Frank called me and said, "Darling, I got good news. This guy that I told you about has an apartment for rent, and it's about 3 blocks away from the townhouse. Marie, do you want to see it today?" I said, "Yes. I will pick you up after work." Frank told me in the car that this apartment was small, but we will have the backyard, basement, and a washer and dryer. It's on the first floor. When we arrived, the owner was waiting for us. After some small talk, he showed us around. I liked this place, even though it was small. Frank told the owner that we will let him know our decision as soon as possible. When we got home, Frank asked me, how did I like our new place? And I said, I did like it, and I told him, let's take it. Frank asked me, what made you decide to take this place? I told him, it's right near the church that we go to, and the bank where we have the real diamond is in the safe deposit box is on the corner across the street. Frank told me that he was happy that I liked the little place as much as he did. Since we found our new home so easily, will give us more time to move. The next day, Frank called me and said that he went to the owner and finalized the deal. Frank told the owner that we couldn't move in until the 1st of next month. The owner said that we could start moving our things little by little, and he wasn't going to charge us until the 1st of next month. Frank told him that he could fix up the basement and paint the place in appreciation for the free time. Then the owner asked Frank, would he like to be caretaker of the building? Frank said, yes, sir. Marie, he also told me that he wasn't going to raise our rent as long as we lived there. I told Frank, you really got a sweet deal. Even though we were moving to a smaller place, the location and the no rent increase makes up for the difference in size. Frank told me that he has more things to discuss when he gets home. That night in bed, Frank said that he was happy the way things are working out. Since we were a little behind on some bills, Frank asked me, would you mind if we sold the real diamond? I asked Frank, what made you decide to do that? Frank said that this way we can pay off some bills and we can have savings. I told him that I really liked the idea. Then he said that this way, instead of leaving the real diamond in the bank, we can get interest on this money in our savings account. Frank, do you think that we'll be able to find a buyer for the real diamond? Frank said that he decided to sell it back to the jeweler. This way we won't have to worry about a would-be buyer pulling a fast one on us. Frank had asked the jeweler about selling it back when he bought the real diamond, and the jeweler told him that he would give him 10% less than the purchase price. This way the jeweler can make a profit on the deal. I said, Frank, you really have a lot of things to do. Frank said that he was going to call the jeweler the first thing in the morning from work. Frank called the jeweler the next day, and he said that he would buy the real diamond back, no questions asked. And Frank told me this, I said, "You really work fast. Marie, this way we will have even more time for moving." When Frank came home from work, I asked him, "How come you're a little late?" Frank said that he had rushed to the bank on his lunch hour, got the real diamond, closed the safe deposit box, and rushed to the jeweler and finalized the deal, then rushed back to the bank to deposit the check into our savings account. Frank told me that the jeweler kept his word. He gave us 10% less than the purchase price. And then Frank went back to the job. I said, "Frank, you really don't waste any time." Frank said, "Let's go to dinner at our favorite restaurant to celebrate." I got dressed in my most beautiful gown, the one that I wore when Frank gave me the real diamond over 20 years ago. I was very happy now, and so was Frank. So the next day, Frank was ready to start work on our new place. After work from his day job, he went to the new place and started cleaning out the basement. Frank came home. He told me his idea for our new home. Remember, Marie, I have a lot of things to do, and it's going to be hard to fit everything from our big place into the smaller place. Frank also told me that the basement was a lot bigger in the new place, and we could put a lot of things from our bigger place down there. I told Frank, "You better get some rest." Frank said, "Let's go to bed, Marie, and get ready for another exciting day." Frank went to the new place every day after work for about 2 weeks. He told me what he had gotten done so far. "Marie, I cleaned everything out of the basement and swept, mopped, and painted the basement floor gray and put the owner's stuff in the front so he could pick it up later." Frank also told me that this guy he knows was going to help him take apart the shelving from the townhouse basement and put them back together in the new place basement. And once that was done, he moved everything that was on the shelves in the townhouse basement to the new place basement. Finally, Frank got all the things moved from the townhouse basement to the new place basement, plus a lot of things from the rest of the house that we weren't using. Now our townhouse was 3/4 moved with time to spare. I hadn't seen the new place since the day that we went there because Frank didn't want me to see our new home until everything was moved. Finally, everything got moved, and Frank took me to see the new home. I couldn't believe how he fit everything into this small place. Frank put everything down the basement that didn't fit in the small apartment. He had everything in boxes marked and neatly stacked, and all the pictures and wall decorations stacked vertically in wooden racks that he made. Frank used every possible space. Frank only left just enough space to get around to access the washer and dryer. That night in bed, Frank asked me, "Marie, how do you like everything so far?" I said, "Frank, I am happy the way everything turned out. Since you put everything in the new place like it was in the old place, and it was almost like we didn't even move." Frank kept his word with the owner and fixed up the house over the next 20 years. Frank did everything you could think of. He painted the inside and outside, plus the doors and windows, several times, giving the house that fresh look all the time. He also put carpeted stair treads on all the steps, including the basement. Frank put paintings in the hallway and vestibule, and wall mirrors on each floor, and other artwork that he bought over the years. Every inch of wall space was filled with the stuff that didn't fit in the small place. Frank treated the hallway like it was part of our apartment, and painted our apartment several times, which made it look better than it did when we first moved in. Frank collected the rents, kept the house clean, inside and out, and he did whatever needed to be done to maintain the property to the highest standards. Frank was used to doing these things because he was doing the same things when I first met him for his mother's property. The owner was so pleased the way Frank was taking care of everything that he wanted to put us in his will. Of course, this was just a gesture of appreciation. Can you imagine what it's like not having a rent increase for over 20 years and don't have to worry about moving unless we wanted to? I guess you could say that this was the house that Frank built. One more thing. When we first moved in to the new place, I asked Frank to pick one of the songs that he wrote when we first started going together. Frank thought for a moment and said, "Marie, the song I wrote over 20 years ago would be Peace of Mind." I said, "Let's play it now." Frank took the song from his collection and played it, and it sounded just as good as it did the day when he first wrote it. Frank then looked at me and said, "Marie, my baby, I hope that this song comes true and we will have peace of mind and live happily ever after in our new home." This song has come true so far, and we are living out our lives, and our love is just as strong as ever. We may be a little older, heavier, and grayer now, but we still have each other, and that proves that if Frank didn't write the Real Diamond song, we probably would have never met, and our lives would have turned out different. That's why I wrote this story, and I believe in destiny. I hope that the reader enjoyed this story as much as I did writing it. At this time, I would like to wish everyone peace of mind from Frank and Marie. The lyrics of Peace of Mind that Frank wrote over 40 years ago is next. Peace of Mind by the unknown songwriter. Everywhere that you go, and even places you don't even know, you can go to a mountaintop or just pay a visit to your mom and pop. Peace of mind is hard to find. In the crisis that we face every day, it's tough to put your mind at ease. But if you do find solace for a moment, you'll be the one that you please. Peace of mind is hard to find. Everybody is one of a kind, and we're all trying to find peace of mind. You think of the things that you have to do, and you find out that there are quite a few. Peace of mind is hard to find. If you're lost, you can't find your way, whether it's for a week or just for a day, and when you finally get on the right track, you won't ever want to go back. Peace of mind is hard to find. You can look under a rock or just go from block to block. You can take an ocean voyage to a faraway land or just hold each other's hand. Peace of mind is hard to find. If I could make just one wish, it would be for mankind that everybody, everywhere, would have peace of mind. Peace of mind is hard to find.